Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to R Squared Technology. I am your host, Ryan, and let's get ready to SolidWorks! So, in our previous videos from the Beginner's Guide to SolidWorks 2022 Level 1, we were working on a part called the housing. This is a 4-part series, so please check a link below which will link you to the 4th, and those link all to the previous. Of course, this is in a playlist as well, organized for you, the unofficial guide to SolidWorks. So with that, today we're going to start into a new part called the side cover, which will be starting on page 116, section 3.1. As always, there will be a link in the description below where you can pick up the book to follow along. So with that, let's get going. Alright, so in the book, starting on page 116, section 3.1, we're going to do a simple thing here, which is we're going to start with a document template that we already made and make a slight change to the material, followed by moving into the actual part itself. So, with SolidWorks open, you're going to want to go to File, New, and then when the new SolidWorks document dialog pops up, it's likely you may be on Novice. But again, at this point, you should be familiar with the navigation of opening files with templates, as we covered that in the introduction video and in the beginning of the housing part. So, but just as a refresher, when this dialog pops up, you're going to go to Advance. You may have multiple tabs up here. You're going to want to choose the tab that has the save location where you saved the template that we made, which should be the ANSI inch cast alloy steel. You'll click OK to open it. And then what we're going to do over here in the feature tree is under the part material, the cast alloy steel, we're going to right click on that and we're going to edit the material. And on page 117, they make a request that we use AISI 1020. So select that material, which is under steel, by the way, and click Apply and click Close. And then you'll notice over here that the material changed to the AISI 1020. Alrighty, so we've now made the material change to the part. Go ahead and hit Control S, choose a file location, and name it Side Cover. From here, we're going to pick up on page 118, going through section 3.2 and 3.3. So first, we're going to go up here, make sure you're on the Features tab. Then you're going to choose Revolved Boss/Base. And we need to choose a plane. It recommends the right plane for isometric viewing. And then from here, we're going to choose the corner rectangle option, and we want one of the points, which we'll choose the bottom right corner of the rectangle, to be on the origin, coincident of that. So click over the origin, drag up to the left, click again. We're not concerned about any size right now. Then we're going to choose the bottom left of that first rectangle for the next coincident point. We're going to then click, drag up to the left again, and we'll make it about there. Then we will click OK, and from here we're going to go to section 3.4 on page 119 and into section 3.5 on page 120. So now what we're going to do here is I'm going to right click while holding, just drag down, and you can see how there's different options. So I ended up choosing a different command, but I'm just going to simply right click again and make sure that I choose the trim, which is a little scissor icon here, and we want to make sure power trim is selected, and then we're going to simply click and we're going to trim through this line here. So I'm dragging to the right, and then I'm going to drag down and catch this bottom line, trim through that. You get to see this little gray line that looks like an Etch-a-Sketch, and then I'm going to simply release. And then from here we can close out the dialog. And then now section 3.6 on page 120, and then ending on page 121, we're going to do the reverse. So up here in the Sketch tab, we're going to go choose the Trim Entities, the drop down, and choose Extend Entities. So then we're going to simply hover over this bottom line, and you'll see an orange line come all the way across to show where it's going to complete. We'll simply click to add that line, and then we'll hit escape a couple of times to get out of that extend entities. Now from here we go on to section 3.7, still on page 121, where we want to completely fully define our sketch by adding good old dimensions. So I'll choose the good old smart dimensions. I'm going to grab this line here and do 1.625, enter. I'm going to grab this top horizontal, 0.125, enter. I'm going to choose this bottom one, 0.75, and then finally this last line here at 0.5, enter. And now our sketch is fully defined, so we'll close the dialog and hit Control S. Alright, now that we have our fully defined dimensions for this sketch, the next thing we're going to do is move to section 3.8 on page 122, where we will go up to the Features tab here. And then we're going to choose the Revolved Boss Base again. And then you're going to notice that the directional end condition, or revolve type in this case, is going to be blind. And then it's going to be 360 degrees. So from here we want to choose this bottom horizontal line as our axis of revolution. And that's going to be section 3.9. And now we're going to move on to section 3.10 on page 123, also known as 3.10, however you want to say it. And it's just kind of quickly noting what you're going to notice for, again, those property defaults for a boss base revolve. So from here we can simply click OK. We'll want to hit Control S like a million times, save often. And now section 3.11 or 3.11, page 123, we're going to hit the space bar to bring the front plane normal to. And from here we're going to take the frontmost plane, which is this circle here. We're going to right click and make sure we choose Sketch. Then we are now automatically brought into the Sketch tab up here. We will choose a circle with a center point. We're going to choose the origin, coincident to that, for the center point of the circle. Click drag out. Click OK, and we're going to give that a smart dimension of 0.625. And then we're going to click OK. And that will then take us into section 3.12, where we're going to create another circle. So come up here, click again. Again, we're going to also use the origin as the center point of that circle. And now we're going to click and drag out and click about here. But whoa, before we dimension this, we're doing something unique. We're doing reference or construction geometry here. So over in the feature area, properties, we're going to want to choose for construction on this one. And then we'll move from page 124 over to page 125, section 3.13, where we're simply going to click OK. Then we're going to choose another circle. And then over here on the construction geometry, we want to choose this node here, which is going to be in line or coincident of this circle and both horizontal in relation to the origin. So click here and drag out. Click OK. We'll add a smart dimension to this as well. And that's going to be 0.25. Enter. And then lastly, we'll add the dimension to our construction geometry circle here of 2.75. Enter. And then we can click OK. And then now we're on section 3.14, which is on page 125 towards the bottom. And it's going to carry over to the top page of 126. So what we'll do here is I'm going to press the space bar to bring this into an isometric view for you so you can see what's happening. We're going to go to the Features tab. We're going to choose Extruded Cut up here. And then in the Feature property, we want to make sure that the Through All End condition is selected. By default, it's blind, but if you've used the Cut Extrude before, it may leave off on the last end condition you chose. So through all, you can see the partial preview here, and then we can simply click OK. And then I'll just click in the graphics area and hit Control S, and now we have the cut extrudes done with just one sketch. Alrighty, now that we've got the cut extrude feature complete here, we're just going to backtrack real quick to section 3.10, where I forgot to rename this to be flange base as such. Hit Control S, and now back to section 3.15. We're going to do a circular pattern to this hole here. So to get that started, we'll go with the Features tab, and under Linear Pattern, we're going to choose a circular pattern. And then the first thing we'll want to do is choose the axis of rotation, which, interesting enough, you can also use an edge, which we've actually done in the previous part. So we just choose this edge here, which is on the same face for this circular pattern. We'll want to make sure the instance is set to 6 here. But instead of choosing in the Features box, we're going to choose here the Face to Pattern box. And then on the keyboard, we'll choose G as the shortcut to zoom in. And then we're going to want to select this inside face here. And then we can see from our partial preview, we have selected exactly the holes we want to do a circular pattern to. And then we can click OK, hit Control S, and then we can move over to page 128, where we're going to finish up the part with one less feature, which is a fillet. So in the Features tab, choose the fillet, and make sure our dimension is set to 0.125. And then we're going to select this edge here, and we're going to click OK. And that is going to conclude the side cover part. In the next tutorial video, we will pick it up with the top cover, which is going to start on page 134. So I hope to see you all there in the next video, and thank you for watching this one, and as always, take care.